Hey, welcome everybody to the Gamer Guide channel. I am going to be looking at Robocraft 2 today. It's an early pre-alpha, and it's basically just a sandbox physics game right now, but it's free. So if you want to try Robocraft 2 out for yourself, you can get it at robocraft2.com and play around with it a little bit. I certainly enjoyed checking it out. So we'll jump into the game here. Let's take a look at the CRF, which is a community market where people put up things they've built. And we'll give this a try first by driving around some vehicles. And then I'm going to build a couple things, see what I think of how things are situated this early in development. And take a look at some of the new features too here at some point. And see if I think Robocraft 2 is going to end up being something that I'll end up playing when it gets released, or at least goes into alpha. Let's check out this tank. This looks pretty neat. It's a pretty neat creation someone put together. Now, there's not really a lot of diversity in weapon types, but I did notice there's some more diversity in the way we can shape our parts. So it's a little different than the original Robocraft, where you just had kind of predefined blocks, and this one you can kind of make your blocks any size you want. And there's also looks like some logic and math and some cool stuff that we didn't have in the original Robocraft. I had played Robocraft for a long time, for years, the original one, and put it down for Crossout and for some other building style games that I was a little bit more interested in at the time. But it was a fun game, and I know people on places like Reddit and other social media criticize Robocraft for their monetization model and some other things. But it sounds like they want to turn over a new leaf and try a brand new game based on the things they've learned, so it should be interesting to see exactly how that goes. So far, I mean, this feels like it's driving pretty intuitively. It's a pretty weak plasma gun up here, but it seems fun. And I like the way this tank looks. They did a good job on it. I see, a couple of engines down there. I'm going to go ahead and put together something for myself. I just put together kind of a suspended frame and then a little bit of an outer shell here that I'll throw some wheels on. Here's a look at the building system. So you have dimensions on this block. Now this block's just worth 1 CPU, and you can see up on the top bar there, I'm at 417 out of 820 CPU. So every time you put down a block, no matter the size, it's just 1 CPU. So it makes it pretty interesting. I mean, you could have a small vehicle with really small blocks, and it would have, pretty high CPU, or a bigger vehicle with big blocks, and could still be relatively, the same number, depending on how good you are with shaping it up. Alright, so we'll take out my little suspended frame test drive here, see if I can get it to run around a little bit. I put 4 engines, and each of the engines in this is 500 horsepower, 4 wheels, front 2 turn, back 2 are stationary. And for the life of me, I couldn't figure out how to get the back wheels to turn the opposite direction when you put the wheels on. Even after pressing the F, the flip module, or flip command, doesn't make the wheels turn a different way, so I just stuck on stationary wheels until I can figure that out. If you've played Robocraft 2 and you know how to flip the back wheels around, it must be a command or something I'm missing. Let me know in the comments below. But anyway, I'm going to build it out a little bit more. I put a bottom skid plate on it. I stuck a front and back frame on it a little bit, just to put the weight up a little bit and see if there's a major difference in the way it's driving around. It's slightly slower, but it's about the same speed. So it'll be interesting to see when I get this thing all the way armored up how it does. One of the things I noticed here too is that this actually has destructive physics. So if you smack the ground and your bumper hits, you're going to lose pieces of your car. And it also has destructive physics if you hit another vehicle. So you can just like ram someone and knock some of their parts off if you lose your weapons, which could be an interesting mechanic in the game too, for sure. And it might take a little more time to build robots that have parts that regularly hit the ground. This is kind of interesting. These turrets are mannable, and you can jump out of your vehicle at any time too, unlike in the original Robocraft, and man a turret, or I guess supposedly maybe even grab someone else's vehicle. I'm not sure how that's going to work when they get to a place where it's multiplayer. Looks like you can even ram through walls. I tried to do the old Kool-Aid move and just smash through and go, oh yeah, but just decimated the front of my vehicle. But Yeah, that's the thing. So if you wanted to, try to take someone out after losing weapons, you can basically just kamikaze into them when it gets into a more competitive mode. I've noticed a couple bugs in this, like the AI cars flying into outer space as soon as you load in and stuff like that. But like the precursor said, it's pre-alpha, so I don't really have super high expectations. This is interesting. I found out right here that if you go into this little closed-off area, this turret will try to destroy you. So I'll have to go back later when I get this vehicle built out with a weapon and see if we can take down the turret. All right, add in some more armor. I'm leaving it spaced. I'm just like, in theory, I think this maybe would work good against plasma weapons if you had a little space between like the main components and the armor. I think it's a 4-block radius on plasma fire, so you might actually need a little bit more spacing than what I'm doing, or a smaller frame. But got something together. It kind of reminds me of like the Tesla truck or something. And I stuck plasma on it. One thing too noticed that's different is that the plasma weapon, you have to put your own rotating turret on it and also hinges to get the plasma gun to aim where your cursor is. So like if you didn't put the hinges on it for firing, you could turn your gun, but you wouldn't be able to go up and down. So it's important that you get both in. So it's a little more customized. There's also no cabins or anything in this game, so everything you're basically making by hand. And as of right now, there's no mirror mode. I did find a copy paste function, so if you go in and you press P, you can select a part of the rig and then just copy and paste it, especially if you're doing like a repeating frame or something like that and you wanted to copy it. That's a pretty nice feature. There's a flip function too. Pressing F in it will flip some of the things, and I think it's mostly like framing parts and stuff like that for making your own cab. I thought that was what you would need to do for the back wheels, but I wasn't able to get it to function any differently. Anyway, so I got this thing done. I added a little more armor to the side, putting it up on the CRF. So if you want to check it out, Plasma Rover Alpha, it's on the CRF, so you can go check it out for yourself if you want to download this game. Again, it's free, and just think of it as a physics sandbox. You're not actually going to be playing against anybody else. You just take it out after you've built something, and you can test some stuff out. Later on, when they get into actual alpha and multiplayer and add more parts and stuff, we should be getting some more Robocraft-esque game modes, and it should be a little bit more entertaining in that way. But I still enjoyed playing with the sandbox features, and especially with the expanded creativity you can have with reshaping parts, and then also some of the things like the logic gates and stuff like that if you want to get complex, which I really didn't in this test, but I will probably in the future when Robocraft 2 comes out. I have some ideas already for interesting ways you could use pistons and logic gates and stuff like that together to kind of protect weapons and maybe even do like a transformer. This vehicle I'm in now is actually someone else's, but I thought it looked neat, so I wanted to take it out. They did a good job on kind of modeling it. But I did build this. It's a little Trike style car. Kind of reminded me a little bit of the Aptera. I know it's not exactly structured the same, but it's a 3-wheeler with the front 2 wheels out front. And then I put even smaller, lighter weight dual plasma turret on top. Here's a look at some of the other logic gate stuff. So you have different parameters, and then even things like consonant blocks, counters, timers, all kinds of cool stuff. You can set up your own formulas. So maybe if you lose a certain amount of blocks, or you are turning, or you're moving forward, or something like that, you can have your robot do certain things. Maybe the armor comes in and protects you a little bit more when you're moving or something like that, and then the weapons come out when you stop. Then you can kind of be more creative with this sort of thing. Area sensors, it has distance sensors, all kinds of cool stuff, which I didn't get into too much. I saw someone build a semi-truck using like a passive hinge, which I thought was super cool, having like a free floating trailer on the back. And then there's pistons and stuff too. This is something I'm interested in. The pistons would be cool for like opening different doors and gates and stuff like that when you activate a certain function, and then maybe having your weapons being protected while you move. So it should be really interesting. I think people who are really into like basic programming or want kind of an educational game to make something fun will have a lot of fun with this. Here's that copy paste mode. So if you press P and select something, you can like select your entire robot and then move it around your garage, which is real helpful if you need a little bit more room. So let's go and take this thing out for a quick test run. to see how fast it is. Now I threw 3 engines in this, and I built this one a little different than the first robot I made. I made it out of really small single layer blocks, so I think this would be better against like SMGs or things that do constant fire. Probably not as good against plasma, but I feel like having more small pieces and making a robot might be more advantageous than having just huge blocks. So this is super lightweight, so there's heavy, medium, and lightweight blocks in this. And the lightweight, of course, has less hit points, but you can move faster, and yeah, significantly faster. One less engine, a lot smaller, but no problem getting up and going this thing. And it takes jumps pretty good. Couldn't do the jump in the first vehicle I made, the Plasma Rover Alpha. That thing would just tumble once you go up. In fact, it could hardly make up a ramp. So yeah, moves pretty good. Should be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to them adding some more movement parts, especially like helicopter blades and things from the original Robocraft. Jet engines would be really neat to see, and then mech legs. I saw some people in the shop actually making mech legs manually with some of the logic gate stuff. I didn't try them out or anything, but looked good. This is the starter vehicle, so everybody has this one. I think I saw it in the shop called the Boar, if I remember right. So probably someone's robot that people at Robocraft at Free Jam liked so much they made it the starting vehicle. But yeah, it moves pretty good. This is just to show you the difference, because I was playing with primarily plasma. Starter bot has got the SMG style gun. It doesn't do a lot of damage, and I noticed it's super inaccurate too at distance. You got to like tap fire, I think, to help a little bit with that. But honestly, like plasma right now is way better than SMG, in my opinion. But I'll say this robot looks fantastic. They did a good job. Whoever took the time to put the details on the robot, added enough polish where it looks nice. I like it. So good job on that. Anyway, I think this is a really fun game. Game, you know, quote in quotations. It's kind of more of a physics sandbox, and it's free. So if you're bored and you just want to try something else out, again, robocraft2.com. You can download it for free. You will have to log into your Steam account to kind of get into the game, and it will use your Steam name. So I'm Rollin in this particular account, and yeah, I'd recommend it. Check it out. There's a lot of stuff coming, and there's a lot of updates too on Twitter you can follow if you wanted to kind of keep up with what they're currently developing. But I think it shows promise, and I'm excited about it. I think in a year or two, or whenever it is that the game finally goes into like beta, it should have a pretty good following. There's already quite a lot of stuff on the market. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Please give me a thumbs up and a like if you would, and I'll see you next time here on the Gamer Guy channel. Later.